there's a common misconception that running a franchise might be easier than starting your own business. What's something that people might misunderstand about that?
Yes, I purchased the franchise, but I'm still the one that has to put those all into play. I have scrubbed the floors, I have tutored, I have assessed, I've worn every single hat. Hiring the best people to support you is step number one.
Angela Jones spent over a decade growing brands and expanding market share, a strategist in sales, marketing, and business development. But when her daughter began to struggle, she shifted her focus to build something more personal, driven not by profit, but by a lifelong need to help people and a now or never leap into purpose.
Just slow down and make sure they're not hiring someone just to fill the space. Make sure that they're hiring someone to fill their mission, because your business is only as strong as your team. I've always wanted to help people. When my daughter was in second grade, she was struggling with reading and math. And so we did a ton of research in the market, and we ended up taking her to Sylvan, and she loved it. She would come home so happy, and it really worked miracles for her. And my husband and I had talked about it for several years, and it was kind of just a now or never. And the timing was just right. We found an amazing location, and so we jumped off the deep end, and here we are. It had been a dream, really 8 years in the making, and I just knew I wish I had done this sooner. I wish I'd had, the guts maybe to do it sooner. Just do it.
All right, today's guest, we have Angela Jones. Angela is the owner of the Sylvan Learning Center in Altoona. But before she started her learning center, she worked for Jordan Creek Town Center, as well as the Glen Country Club as a marketing coordinator.
Marketing director.
And, but it wasn't until she walked in Sylvan's doors as a mom that she wanted to start off on her entrepreneurial journey. So Angela, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So just got back from a conference.
I did.
Yeah, what was that all about?
It was awesome. It was the Sylvan/Unleashed Brands Conference in Fort Worth, Texas. Learned a lot of great things. There were several great inspirational speakers, but it was really amazing to meet with other franchisees and owners of Sylvan. It was just great to get together and talk about our day-to-day lives and what we're doing, and really just share information with each other.
Yeah. So this Unleashed company, what are some other companies that they own?
Yeah, Unleashed Brands is amazing. They own 8 different companies, and they really span all ages of children. We really want to learn, grow, and play with them. So they own everything from the little gym where tots can go learn how to, do gymnastics and be physical, to things in the middle where they learn, like Sylvan, and Class 101, that's a college prep. But then also they have fun things like Urban Air, which we have a few in the metro, or one in the metro in Ankeny. So it's just a really great concept. I love that it's completely kid-centric, and we're just working with kids from little ages to graduation.
Yeah. How many Sylvan centers are there nationwide?
Oh, there's over 400. And we are in Canada as well.
Oh, wow.
So we're everywhere. Yeah, we've been around for 46 years now. So it's an amazing, trusted brand, and I love it.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more. What's the Sylvan motto, or the Sylvan brand?
Yeah, so we inspire kids to learn. We're personalized learning. We have great teachers. We also believe that there's a great initiative to technology. Kiddos really love technology, so if that can help them learn, we're 100% behind that. But really, I'm most passionate about seeing the changes in the kids from when they come in to when they leave. Building confidence is at the core of what we do. So we're building skills, but we're also building confidence.
Yeah. So take us back before Sylvan, out of high school, out of college. Where'd you go to college?
I went to UNI. And I got my undergrad and my master's degree there. My undergrad was in PR, and then my master's was in organizational communication. So I am marketing, advertising, sales. That's where I originated.
Yeah.
So I went to work for some agencies in Cedar Falls right after graduating from UNI, and I loved it. I was a media buyer. So it was really amazing. All of the clients that I worked with trusted me to help put their advertising in the right places.
Right.
So I really got to know really the whole Iowa market. I advertised for companies, well, actually some education as well. I did Wartburg College, their Be Orange campaign. I placed all of that media, UNI athletics, some hospitals, some nonprofits. It was just really amazing to be in an agency environment because I got to learn not only media buying, but everything else that they did for the brands. So we did everything from original concepts to creative to commercials, print, digital, television, you name it.
What was your favorite?
Placing or
favorite
creative?
Well, tell me both.
Okay. So for Allen Hospital, we had some really great advertising. We had Go Red for Women, which is heart awareness, heart disease awareness.
Yeah.
And I got to be in some of those ads, but I also really loved UNI athletics. We would have media days and all of the athletes and the coaches would be there, and we'd get little snippets of them. Like when you go to a game and you see their photos up on the screens, we did all that media. It was a lot of fun.
So you like the creative aspect the best?
I did love watching the creative aspect because it helped me know where to place the media. Media buying is kind of an art. You have to really know where your audience is going to be and what the message is to make sure you're reaching the right people.
Yeah. How did you track what placements were performing the best?
So I worked with the stations. We also had access to all of the ratings. So I don't know if you remember if your parents ever did the Nielsen ratings. They would get a diary at home and they'd mark where they watched things. This was old school, but now it's all, digitized and they can track everything.
Right.
But we would get all of those ratings. So we would know exactly what programs and what television stations had the highest ratings. And so we would target there, but also things like cable. I mean, back before all the streaming services, cable was really awesome because you could find your niche market. Are they on MTV? Are they on Bravo? Are they on Lifetime? So it was really fun to get to know your clients and your advertisers, and really live that journey with them because you wanted them to be as successful as possible.
Yeah. Did you guys ever do any kind of social back then?
So we started doing Google AdWords and things like that. That started towards the end of my media buying era, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
That started becoming a thing. So I have done that, Facebook ads, things like that, but not to the magnitude that they are now because it's just a different world now. Which I also love because everything is trackable and you can geofence exactly the person you want down to I want to reach them on a 70-degree day on a golf course. It's pretty amazing what you can do now.
Yeah. So, talk to me more about after college, after those agencies in Cedar Falls moved down to Des Moines.
I moved to Des Moines, yes. And that is where first I went to another agency just to get into the market. And then I had my daughter. And then I decided, being in the agency, I realized I wanted to be the marketing person who hired the agencies. So I went to Jordan Creek Town Center, was the marketing director there, had so much fun. I helped plan all the events. We had a huge Santa arrival with fireworks around the lake out there, around all the restaurants.
Yeah.
I helped do, that was back when Black Friday was huge and we opened the doors at midnight and there was a mad dash to get in. That was so fun. Down to little events. We did so many things there. It was a lot of fun. We had a summer concert series, so I hired all the bands for that.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, I went down the street not too far to Glen Country Club, and there I was the director of marketing and membership. And they had never had anybody in a marketing role in that position before, because it had just been really sales membership driven.
Right.
So my first year there, I got to place some media, and it was so much fun. The owners just believed in me, and we had great success. While I was there, we went on a wait list, and
Nice.
it's an amazing, Glen Oaks is amazing. It's a beautiful clubhouse. It's a beautiful golf course. So, I've been very blessed. The jobs that I've had in the past, they were all places that were very easy to market because they were beautiful.
Yeah. How did you come across those opportunities? So in my experience, a lot of companies are looking for experienced talent. For someone that's maybe new to the workforce in marketing or any industry for that matter, how do you get into some of those other companies as an entry level?
So funny enough, when I was at Me&V, the very first agency I was at, which was then Mathis, Ernest, and Van Eventer, and now it's Amperage, Brian Ernest hired me, and he said, I'm not hiring you for your experience. I'm hiring you for your attitude and your personality. And so I was there for 7 years before I moved here. And I really think that all of the knowledge that I had from not only the media buying side, but the creative side, and, working with each of my advertisers on what they went through, gave me the knowledge. And when I met with Jordan Creek Town Center, they trusted me to take that on. I'd already been buying media in the market, so I knew what to do, and I love planning events, so that was really easy. So I really think it's finding the right person that will trust you. And, you have to really sell yourself in that interview too, because nobody's going to do it for you. And you have to come across, I think, as trustworthy and someone that really cares about the brand.
What value you bring to the company?
100%. And, every job that I've had, I've never been one to apply or interview for something that I knew I couldn't be passionate about. So I think it just genuinely came through.
Yeah.
And I truly loved both of those jobs. They were so fun. I really got to know a lot of people, and they are kind of apples and oranges, right? Because at the mall, you are advertising to a tri-state area because Jordan Creek is really where everybody goes, right? And Glen Oaks Country Club, that was more advertising to the immediate members, but also getting involved in their lives and, them giving referrals and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So after Glen Oaks, straight into Sylvan from there.
Straight into Sylvan from there.
What prompted you to want to start Sylvan in Altoona?
Right. So when my daughter was in second grade, she was struggling with reading and math. And we knew we needed to do something. So we did a ton of research in the market, and we ended up taking her to Sylvan. And she loved it. She talked about it all the time. She would come home so happy, and it really worked miracles for her. It was exactly what she needed when she needed it. And so now she's in ninth grade. So it's been a lot of years that we've been thinking about it. And in the middle of 2023, it became a spot where I had been at Glen Oaks for 8 years. So it was like, okay, am I going to keep doing this, or are we going to try something different? And the timing was just right. We found an amazing location. And so we jumped off the deep end, and here we are.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you feel like your experience in the marketing world really helped you kind of launch Sylvan in Altoona?
100%. Sylvan, a lot of people that end up buying a Sylvan are people who either tutored there and then were a center director and worked their way up through the ranks, maybe bought from someone who was ready to sell, or teachers, educators.
Yeah.
I had neither of those backgrounds, but I had the marketing background, and I knew I was passionate about the service, and I really believed in it. So I'm my own testimonial. So it was kind of easy for me to make that transition. And I knew that I had a lot of amazing teachers in the area. I had kind of talked to some of them before we got going, just to see what they thought about bringing Sylvan to the area. And that's really what I wanted to do, was do this for our community, because it was something that we didn't have.
Buying into a franchise, what does that process look like?
That was a lot of research. We already knew we loved the brand. So then we started looking into, what are the different seasons of the business. They were called discovery calls with other owners to see, everything that they had gone through. Because we wanted to make sure we were, doing the right thing for our family too. Right. But they had a really great process. They, not only did you interview and talk to, the Sylvan corporate people, but they also put you in touch with other owners and center directors. So you could really get, a true understanding of what it was like.
What resources did they provide you to kind of start off on the right foot?
So Sylvan is great. They have basically all of the software and technology that I needed. And you also have an FBC, a franchise business consultant. So I had somebody that was there with me every step of the way to really help me make sure I was putting everything in place just right and doing all the processes. They have a great training. So I started training in September of 2023. And I trained for 2 solid months before we opened our doors in December of 2023.
Nice. What were those early days like?
Busy.
Yeah.
I was there by myself. I did everything. I was the owner, center director, tutor, everything. Wow. So our website went live a few days before I really knew it did. And so when I got into the center, well, let me step back a second. The city approved our center because they have to go through and make sure everything's compliant, right. Fire code, all of that. I believe it was December 9th. And I already had somebody scheduled to come in on December 13th. So it was a mad dash to make sure everything was just right and perfect. And so I had my first assessment on a Wednesday, and then they enrolled for the next following Monday.
Wow.
And that was my first student, still with me today.
Nice.
Amazing. But it was doing everything by yourself, opening the center, doing all the assessments, doing the tutoring. It was a lot, but I will tell you that everything fell in place just at the right time, because I think I had 4 students that I was doing all of that with. And then I got my first tutor. And she was amazing.
How did you find her?
So I use a service called WorkStream, and it posts across 11 platforms.
Oh, wow.
So I've had really great luck with it so far. And of course there's, teachers refer other teachers because they love it. They come in and they have a great time. So I would say WorkStream, and then just referrals from other tutors.
What are some of those other platforms that WorkStream posts to?
So Indeed, oh my gosh, there's 11 of them. Trying to think off the top of my head.
Indeed, LinkedIn.
Yep, LinkedIn.
Craigslist even?
I don't think it goes to Craigslist. And I could actually go do more on Indeed myself, because they have a really great business platform. But honestly, I think Facebook, all the socials, it's just a really great platform. Like it scatters it in places that you wouldn't even think of it. And right now I have, I think, 11 or 12 applications on my desk that I need to go through and beef up our summer schedule for. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's your busy season? Is it summer or throughout the school year?
It's really seasonal. So summer is important because it's a great time to either catch up if you have a student that's behind,
right.
But also during the summer, we have students come in that are doing really well, but they don't want to have that summer learning loss. It's, unfortunately, a lot of parents don't know this, but your student can lose up to 3 months of what they learned throughout the school year during the summer months if they don't do anything. So we we really love it when our students come. I do have some students that just come during the summer, just so that they can maintain what they learned throughout the school year.
Yeah.
So that's important. And then also we get a little bit busier. The school year gets started, and then those first report cards come out. For reading, they do a lot of the fast assessing within the first 4 weeks of school. And so then sometimes if kiddos are behind already, we'll get some calls. But October is when report cards and conferences happen.
Yeah.
So then, if somebody's starting to get behind, want to make sure that they have a good rest of the school year. But then also in the spring when there's the next, report card and conferences, because we can really help those kiddos finish strong. We had a couple of math students come in and they improved their grade, a whole letter grade, and started getting higher test scores just because they were doing homework support and we were helping them figure out what they were missing.
Yeah. So this is more of an after-school program during the school year, but during the summer, do you have extended hours?
We do. Yep. We do daytime hours, early morning, because we want to make sure the kiddos still have time to get out there and have some fun.
Go play.
So we have Monday through Thursday, 4 to 7, Saturday, 9 to 12, and then we're adding Tuesday, Thursday, 9 to 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you go about earning the trust of the parents in the early days when you were just getting started? Sylvan obviously has a very strong brand.
It does.
But getting exposed in Altoona, what has helped you grow the fastest?
Yeah. So the first thing I did, our doors weren't even open yet. I went and I joined the Altoona Chamber. And in October of 2023, I went to their trick-or-treat event. And I specifically remember a mom coming through, and her student had just been diagnosed with dyslexia and dysgraphia. And she said, "Can you help me?" And I said, "I will be able to." And so I gave her my card. And 2 months later, when we opened our doors, she came through and her student assessed with us, and we're still working with that student today.
That's awesome.
So getting involved in the community, I make sure I do everything I can. I try to go to all the chamber events, especially the community events. That trick-or-treat event has been amazing for us. I try to get involved in all of the school things. We did the homecoming parade. We did black and gold night. Just really being out there and being a face in the community, and just to give awareness that we're there and we're open. The other day I went and presented a Dollars for Scholars scholarship, and there were hundreds of people there. And so, just letting them know that we're there and we care about the students in the community, I think is really important.
For someone ignorant like me that doesn't know exactly what dyslexia is, can you help me understand what are some of the things that someone with dyslexia struggles with?
Right. So some of the kiddos will see letters and numbers either backwards. Sometimes they'll mirror their numbers. So like
9 or 6.
Yep, a 9 or 6, or even the number 4, and they might even just write it the other way, like backwards. Like you would see it, you would write a 4, they would write it backwards. D's and B's are really hard. And so sometimes they either say the wrong letter, give the wrong sound. But I will say, to parents, don't freak out if your child is younger and they are mixing up B and D. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have dyslexia.
Yeah.
They just might not be past that learning curve yet. But yeah, so for a lot of them, they just see numbers and letters differently than someone that doesn't have dyslexia.
So to train that, to work that muscle, to start to improve that, what are some of the things tangibly that you do that help that?
So really working on the consonants and vowels.
Verbally
and reading. So, and writing. So they do all three when they're working on their program. So vowels and consonants and all phonics are the building blocks of reading. So once we can get them strong in that, it helps them put words together and sounds together, and that's when the magic starts happening.
What have been some of the biggest operational hurdles that you've had running a Sylvan franchise?
So I don't know if I would say it were hurdles, but, just we started this business from the ground up. So it was literally everything from finding the space to signing the lease to buying all of the materials. I mean, iPads, pencils, paper, printer, everything. Everything to furnish the space and everything for the students to learn, the manipulatives, the technology. It's a lot. It's a lot of work, but Sylvan gave us a really great list. And so we knew exactly what we needed.
Right.
And, it didn't all happen overnight. It was kind of baby steps. And so now I would say our space is exactly where we want it. And it just takes some time.
Yeah, definitely. Is there anything that you'd like to, highlight in this episode?
I would say if a parent is worried about something that their child is struggling with, bring them in. Even if they're not, we can help everybody. Like I said, we focus on tutoring and test prep, K through 12, reading, writing, math, but we also do homework support. And then we also work with kiddos around the middle school age is when this is really important. We do study skills. So, we teach them how to organize, how to note take, how to test prep, things like that, so they can be successful. Because middle school and junior high is a really big change from elementary. So it's really helpful to have that transition. Also, get your juniors and seniors ready for their college exams, the ACT, the SAT, whatever they're going to take. We do prep for that. We've had some students have really good success with our program and come back and call with really great scores. I would say if you have any doubts, just bring your child in to get assessed and do it as soon as you think there might be a problem. I wish I had done that with my daughter a lot sooner than I did. She was struggling with her sight words and things like that, kindergarten, first grade, and I waited till second grade. I had a parent come in the other day. She has some older children who had started struggling around their fourth grade year, and we assessed her kindergartner last night. It's never too early. And the assessment, it will give you a lot of information, and then you'll know exactly what to do. So I would tell parents, just give it a chance. It's worked wonders for so many people. Talk to some of your friends that have maybe used Sylvan in the past. It is so cool. I have ran into so many people that either they went to Sylvan as a child or their brother or sister went to Sylvan as a child, and now they're bringing their children to me because they've seen what difference it can make.
Right, yeah.
And really, we can work with everybody. We have a great beginning reading foundations that's good for pre-K and kindergartners. So yeah, and if your child has, or if your student has behaviors, don't worry about that. We work with a lot of kids on IEPs and 504 plans, and we have a really small table ratio. It's typically 3-to-1 or 4-to-1. So it's a small group setting, and even our kids that might have those behaviors at school really thrive at Sylvan because they're getting the individual attention that they need. So I would say don't be afraid to take that leap, and or even just, call me and we can have a conversation about it, or come in and we can sit down and talk about it. I love sharing Sylvan with families and parents. I believe it can really do a lot for them.
Coming from a background of working for other companies and jumping into that more business owner role, what have been some of the leadership qualities that you've had to learn, adopt, and implement?
I think hiring the best people to support you is step number one. I have worked for many amazing companies. I've been manager, owner/director in many amazing companies. And I think the most important thing is to listen to your people. Right now, I have some really amazing teachers and a center assistant that supports me in everything that I do. And it makes all the difference because you have to trust your team, right? Like, I can't be at every single table all the time with every single teacher. So knowing that I have amazing people doing the right thing and caring about those kids as much as I do and the parents do means more than I can even say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes I think there's a common misconception that running a franchise might be easier than starting your own business. What's something that people might misunderstand about that?
This is my own business and I live in the community. Yes, I purchased the franchise, but I did that because I knew they had amazing technology and amazing processes. Mm-hmm. I'm still the one that has to put those all into play, right? Mm-hmm. So even though I own this franchise, I'm still the owner, operator, center director. I'm still the one doing everything from the ground up, myself and my team. Mm-hmm. So I would say just that. I mean, even though you're purchasing a brand that already exists, you're still the one doing all of the grunt work and the hard work and the day-to-day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. For others that might be considering entrepreneurship, what advice could you give them about where to start?
Just do it. It is, if there's something that you're passionate about, most entrepreneurs have been thinking about whatever business they're going to start for several years. I wish I had done this sooner. Mm-hmm. I wish I'd had, the guts maybe to do it sooner. Yeah. Do your research though. Make sure that you have support from the brand that you're purchasing. And if you're not doing a franchise, even if you're just opening your own dream business, just do your research, make sure you have a good foundation, make sure you have everything in place before you open your door, because depending on what it is, there might be people that are knocking on your door ready to go day one. Yeah. So be ready because anything can happen.
Was there a mindset shift from, you said maybe you didn't have the guts to start at first, but was there anything that kind of pushed you or called you to want to start, that you got over your fears? Or
Yeah, so I think I was just in a place in my career where it was maybe time to make a change, and my husband and I had talked about it for several years, and it was kind of just a now or never, and we really took that leap of faith together. It had been a dream, really 8 years in the making, you could say. And I just knew I've always wanted to help people. That is my love language, I guess you could say. Like, I love being there for people. I love seeing growth. Mm-hmm. And Sylvan has over and above and beyond done that for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, seeing the smiles on the kids' faces, seeing their grades go up, seeing their confidence boost, and seeing the parents thrilled, that is a dream that I never knew I needed, I guess. If you would have said 3 years ago I would be doing this right now, even though we had thought about it, there's a difference between thinking about it and actually pulling the trigger and doing it. I would have said, oh no, I'm going to be here for a while. But now I am so happy we did what we did when we did it, because it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. What's your vision for the Sylvan and Altoona over the next 3 to 5 years, looking forward?
Mm-hmm. I just want to grow. I want to help more kids. If we can, build more awareness in our community, and help all those kids, I would love to grow and maybe expand. I don't know what that looks like yet, but, maybe open some more centers, some satellite centers. I would also really love to work more with the schools. We have some programs that we can go and help them with needs that they have, specifically for math and reading. So I would love to be able to expand that way too.
Do you get a lot of referrals from the school? Like, maybe teachers that see a student struggling and know that they need some extra help but can't provide it within school hours. Do you get referrals that way?
I've had a few. I also, one of the things that I do is when a parent comes in and enrolls their student, I get permission to talk with the teachers that they have. And I've built some really great relationships that way. One teacher, I was messaging with her and we were working specifically on reading with a student. And they said, that's great. Their reading scores are starting to really go up, but we've noticed a decline maybe in math. So, could you assess them in math too and get some help there? So now we're working with that student that way. So I really love having a relationship with the teachers. I had another teacher reach out to me and say that their student had begun doing so much better in school, both, from a behavior standpoint, but also from a reading standpoint because of the work that they were doing at Sylvan. And she had even suggested to the parent that they keep that relationship and keep working. So I think it's really important to have those relationships and really let the teachers know that we're here to support them. We, as you said, there's only so many hours in the day. And so I really just want to be an extension of them and help make, what they do in the classroom easier.
Are you primarily just in Southeast Polk, or do you have other kids from other school districts coming to you?
I do. And so when you purchase a franchise, you have a territory. So my territory is Bondurant, Pleasant Hill, and Altoona. So because I live in the Southeast Polk School District, I'm able to attend a lot of that stuff more often. But I do have students that travel to the center where there isn't a Sylvan near them. We're the closest one. So
right, yeah.
And we can do online too. I had one student go to Florida for an extended visit. So we can do online learning as well. So kiddos that live further away, we can do all of that virtually for them.
That's awesome. So what's that consist of?
So basically, as long as they have a computer at home, we can deliver our instruction through the computer. So and literally it's like they're there. So we have a computer in the space where they would be at the table. And so literally the teacher is just talking to them through, video. And it's really cool. It's the same program. It's just there in a different location. Right.
Yeah. If you could go back and give one piece of advice, day one opening your center, what would it be?
I would say just go for it and don't be scared. Everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to when it's supposed to. I think a lot of times, when you're doing something new, you have this idea of how things are supposed to go, what order and when. And it usually doesn't work out that way. But I do know now from experience, it all works out how it's supposed to work out. So I would say, in
the moment, it doesn't feel that way.
In the moment, it does not feel like that way. It's kind of like a freight train coming at you. But at the end of the day, everything really did work out the way it was supposed to. And so I would say give yourself some grace and as much as you can, let go and let it all happen the way it's supposed to.
What does that look like to give yourself some grace? Because I've been running into this or hearing a lot of this, it's all going to work out. The last few guests I've had on the show, it'll all work out. Do not fear. It'll all work out. What is that, giving yourself grace or trusting the process? What does that look like to you?
So for me, I'm human, right? We're all human. So giving myself grace means if something doesn't happen in the order I thought it was going to, or if I make a mistake or something out of my control happens, just that, it's out of your control. All you can do is be prepared as much as you can be. And then you just kind of have to roll with the punches. And, you know, giving myself grace means if I do make a mistake, apologize, explain, and move on. Don't harbor on it because it's in the past now. There's nothing you can do about it. Just keep moving forward and doing the best you can, because at the end of the day, we're all human. And as long as you're open and honest about that, I think is the best policy you can have.
Yeah. Seriously, it's been a recurring topic of it'll all work out. It'll all be okay. Just reassurance.
And I know it sounds cliche, but it really does. And the other thing I've learned is that worrying does you no good, because there are so many pieces to the puzzle that are out of your control, that if you just sit there and fester and worry about it, you'll just make yourself miserable. And especially when you own your own business, you can't do that, because, you know, if you're miserable, you're not going to attract other people to want to come do business with you, right?
Or your team too.
Oh, for sure, your team. And my team, I try to do little things for them all the time to let them know how much I appreciate them, because, you know, your team is your business and they are the face of your business. And I just want them to always know how much they're appreciated, because at the end of the day, especially for me, you know, they are helping transform these students and helping them grow.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
That's a great question. I would say probably just believe in yourself, because if you have a dream and a vision, as long as you do your best and work your hardest, you'll get there.
In my business right now, I've got a couple different businesses I'm working with that are to a point where the amount of business that we're bringing on, they're having trouble fulfilling. And they're in a spot where they have to start hiring or building out their team, and they're struggling to get over that hurdle. What advice would you give to a business owner? I know you've said you've used job boards that help you spread the word, but hiring great talent, what advice would you give to those business owners?
That's a tough one, because they're like in a hurry. I would say still slow down, take your time, because you definitely want the right fit for your team. Take your time and go through that interview process and make sure that the people you hire have the same vision as you, because your business is only as strong as your team. And if you have people that aren't there for the right reasons, business might not get done the way you want it to. So I would say be patient. I would also say, you know, treat your employees that you have well, because a lot of times that's where you get your best referrals from. And, you know, just listen to them. Everybody wants to feel like they're being heard, right? And so even though they're in a hurry, just slow down and make sure they're not hiring someone just to fill the space. Make sure that they're hiring someone to fill their mission.
How important is it to have a vision and values for your company and expressing that in your hiring process?
That's everything, because if you bring someone on that is just there to check a box, you know, maybe they just need a job and they're not there for the right reasons, that will show. And so specifically for me, I have to make sure that that person is there for the students. I am very, very careful about who comes in, because I think of all those students as my own student, right? I want them all to succeed and go beyond exceeding.
Right.
And so I need to make sure that every teacher I bring in there feels the same way, because the student can feel that. You know, kiddos know when someone is genuine and when they're not. And so it's most important for me for that student to feel like they're being heard, they're being seen, and that we're building their confidence and they're building their skills at the same time. But it all goes together. It's a package deal.
Yeah.
And I never want a student to feel like they're not important, because we're there to make sure that they know that they are.
Yeah. What are some of those characteristics or traits that you're looking for that are most important to you when hiring?
I have some really great people. They just have a warm personality. They're welcoming. They make you feel comfortable. When they speak to you, they're never speaking down to you. They're always positive. And that's hard, right? We aren't always 100% in a great mood every single day, but these teachers have a gift of leaving whatever baggage they have at the door and coming in and making that student feel like they're the most important person on the planet.
Yeah.
They just exude confidence and warmth and happiness, really.
Yeah, that's awesome. For a business owner that maybe doesn't have their vision and values, written down or fully expressed, how would you advise that they, start to build those or become aware of what's important to them?
So I think everybody needs to figure out their why. Why am I doing this? What's important to me? And then I think they need to practice that and show that to people, so people can really see what they're about. At the end of the day, whatever business you open or franchise or whatever you decide to do, it's a reflection of you. So if you aren't fully invested and bought into that, how is somebody supposed to trust you and want to do business with you?
Yeah. Lead by example.
100% lead by example. And I mean, I've done everything at Sylvan. I have scrubbed the floors. I have tutored. I have assessed. I have done everything.
You've worn every hat.
I've worn every single hat. And I think that's really important. I think it's important if you're asking somebody to do something, you should be willing to do that yourself, and have experienced that. There's not one thing in that building that I haven't done, and I love all of it. I think especially when it's your own business too, it just takes it to another level. But honestly, the people that I have with me right now, they all share the same vision, and they all see Sylvan the same way I do. So I'm very blessed.
Yeah. What would you say your why is?
I would say my why is my family, specifically my daughter who had a transformation through Sylvan, but also my community. I want all of the kids there to feel like they can succeed. And if there's something they're struggling with, that we can help them. And the parents, it's really tough to see your child struggle with something. It's very tough. And so to have a service like that can help your child do better is really important, because it's really hard for parents sometimes to work with their children that way. As a teacher, as a tutor, I had the same thing during COVID. It was overnight. We were helping her with math and reading and all of the things. And just being a teacher is a very different hat to wear. So it's okay for parents to give that up and just play that important parent role that they need to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a great place to end it. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Angela.
Thank you for having me.
Any last words that you'd like to share? Leave us with something inspiring and encouraging.
Just that learning is a journey, and we are here to help that journey, whether it is helping a student get caught up, helping a student get ahead, or helping them plan for the future. I want to be a place that can help them do all of those things.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where can people reach out? Where can people find you?
So they can call 1-800-EDUCATE. That will help them find a location near them. They can go to sylvanlearning.com, or they can find me in Altoona. We are right across from Hy-Vee in the same strip as Jimmy John's, and I will help them get where they need to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody that has a child that may be struggling, or maybe you just want them to progress even further than where they're at, make sure to check out Sylvan Learning Center in Altoona. We'll have all the links in the show notes below. So keep hustling.